Welcome back, everybody, to the West Coast. It is late autumn. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, we have some snow coming in tomorrow. But first, I just want to talk about this mod. If you look over the scenery here and how amazing of a view this is, every corner on this map has an amazing view. Even if you do not like this map, I think that almost everybody could see and appreciate how much of a masterful work of art this map is. And you know, even if you don't like UK maps, I don't see how you can't rate it a 5. It is a true work of art. It is a masterpiece. And right now, it is a 4.1 on ModHub. And as you may or may not know, if it goes below 4, then Bullet Bill loses quite a bit of his profit from that mod. And, you know, based on comparisons, not that there is something wrong with other maps, but well, I kind of showed you a little sneak preview there. Not that all those other maps are flawed, but what other map has these kind of views around every single corner? This map is a masterpiece, and again, just consider giving it a 5 rating. I don't want to tell people how to vote, but based on similar maps and even other mods, I don't see how this mod is not rated higher than a 4.1. I would hate to see it. It makes me sick to see it falling under a 4, especially if it's due to people voting because they're jealous. It's not out on consoles yet. They don't have it. They're a jealous modder because they don't have quite the skills of Bullet Bill. And I don't know, some of that speculation. It could just be the entire community rating this map a 3 and a 4, and maybe there's no 1s in that entire rating system, but that seems unlikely. Just consider that. Consider how awesome this map is, and if you want Bullet Bill to keep making mods, again, this is from my perspective, not that he'll quit making mods if it drops below a 4 or something like that, but get on there and rate it a 5. He deserves it, and so do many other modders, and just get on there and vote. I cannot encourage you enough. Stop right now. Stop what you're doing. Get on the Mod Hub and vote a 5 for the West Coast. Anyway, back over here to this little preview. What is this guy doing? You can see that we have broken ground on a steel bin silo system. We also have quite a lot of less money in the upper right-hand corner. That is because, well, I'll talk about the specifics later. Let's get on to... yeah, so that'll take a little while to build up here. I actually did, in case you're curious, I know steel bins are not common in the UK, but I did Google it. I did see several pictures and images of steel bins in the UK, so it is not unheard of. Maybe they're all Americans like me who have moved over to the West Coast or somewhere else in the UK that are starting to cause problems. Anyway, yeah, so that is a construction project that will get finished throughout the winter. We just had to break ground and pour the concrete while the ground was still thawed. And as you can see over here, we did another little construction project. I paid another $10,000 to put on a shed, a roof over here, because I think that we are going to use this as bale storage eventually instead of a silage pit. And we're going to talk about that right now. I'll discuss the cost associated with the steel bin later. One other final quick note. I talked a little bit about the gear selection for this tractor, and somehow I failed to put the MR mod in my databank folder. So I was not actually using the MR mod when I was operating this, the other day. But now we have the correct gears down there. You can see that it says V, and if you go all the way up, it just has a simple V, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then it has basically low, medium, and high throughout the... I'm not sure what the V stands for. Maybe Modeleisure could enlighten us on that, but it's basically a lower, medium, and then a higher gear, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 throughout. So that's actually an easier shift pattern, but let's put it on medium there. Okay, so we might do a little bit of a cinematic here while I... oops. I run into walls. While I stack these bales. I'm thinking about only making these bales 3 high just because I tried 4 and they are really unstable. So, I don't know. That kind of remains to be seen, though. Let's get out of here. There we go. All right. So I wanted to discuss the reason we put this roof on. You know what? While I'm here, let's get rid of that. Make it a little bit more friendly there. All right. What I wanted to discuss is Louis Parton made, you know, I commented about, oh my goodness, what? What? How did that happen? Okay, I'm pretty sure you can go back to the end of the last video and I unhooked this trailer. It was not like this when I left. I don't know how this happened. This is ridiculous. Oh, man. Oh, what? Oh, no. Oh, some of them even fell. Oh, come on. Oh, my. That is. Oh. Are you kidding me? How did that happen? I unhooked that trailer. Okay. Well. Okay, we're gonna... That makes me want to cry. We'll get back to that. Oh, you know what? Let's fix that now. Let's go find Fritzy. Alright. I don't know what this was, but I wanted to fix it real quick first. This is just maddening. Oh, man. Ah. Well, for now, I think that perhaps, what should we do? I think maybe, let's just try to, oh, I gotta look at that. Oh, that's just, oh, I can't believe that. Okay, we might try and just pull that underneath the shed, but for now, I just wanted to get it a little bit out of the way to make it a little bit easier to get in there with the hay bales. Oh, that is just disgusting. Oh, man. Look at that. Those straps, I don't even know if those could hold on the weight in real life. That's just ridiculous. All right, well, and I kind of lost my train of thought. So we were going to talk about this and why I put a roof over it. And, well, for one, it'll just make getting silage in the winter easier. But I had a good talk with several guys online, and basically it seems like a lot of people they don't even use the pits anymore. They use round bales for silage. And oh, you know what, I normally play with the mouse and keyboard, but I was trying to play with the steering wheel because it's just so much more smoother, and I messed that up. That's not good. All right, anyway, I am just turning into a hot mess, and that reminds me of an Arrested Development episode, if anybody has seen that. Actually, we don't need the lights quite yet. So, whoa, man, train of thought derailed. Okay, so what we were talking about is I would like to get some round bales. I would like to wrap some round bales. I think it'd just be easier for silage feeding the cows. Instead of having to scoop up a bucket, we can just drop in a bale to get silage. Anyway, I want to get into some round bales and wrapping some round bales. The problem is, so here are our options. This is what I think. You know what? I'm not even thinking what I am doing. Oh my goodness. All right. I had to think too much. I'm just going back to the mouse and keyboard, and you guys will just have to bear with the choppy movements for now. But my thought train, yeah, it was derailing my thoughts. So my thoughts on the matter were, we basically have three options. We can keep our current baler and the Kuhn forstacker. Nobody's correcting me on that, so I think I must be pretty close to the name, Kuhn forstacker. Anyway, we can either keep those two things and then just we can buy I do have all the DLC, so we can buy the square baler wrapper, and that would allow us to wrap some bales. And that's probably the most, it's not the cheapest, but it's for our current equipment, it's probably the cheapest option. You know, but it's kind of got some efficiency problems where it adds that extra step of wrapping the bales. However, if we had a combi bale wrapper, so we'll call that option 1. Option 2 is, you know what, maybe I should just say the 3 options and then I'll discuss the merits of each later. So, option 1, keep our current equipment but buy a square bale wrapper. That's option 1. Option 2 is sell the baler forstacker and then buy a combi round baler. That way we can wrap the bales and bale them all in one go. However, well, you know, I'll discuss the merits later. I already said that. So that's option 2. Option 3 is the same as 2, but with the addition of either keeping our square baler for straw. Well, maybe I should explain them as I go. I feel like I'm confusing you. And I'm not getting anything done because I'm thinking about stupid balers. Okay, let's just drop this load off. Okay, we're going to talk about it in a moment. Let's see, how can we push those over? 1 second. Let's just try to nudge those over just a little bit without causing too much of a mess. Yeah, we're going to cause a mess, aren't we? We're going to cause a mess. Get... Okay, you know what? We're going to swing around to the side and just push those over, just because that will throw the whole stack off. Our plan was to put straw over here on this left side, and that's just going to be an ugly thing unless we do that. There we go. See, that wasn't so hard. Why didn't I try that the first time? All right, so the 3 options, and I have decided that I will discuss the merits of each as I go. So we can keep our current equipment, which I'll call that medium efficiency, but we buy a square bale wrapper. So it kind of adds an extra step where we do have to go back and wrap the grass bales into silage and then still gather them on the field. So that's option number 1. Number 2 is sell our current baler and forstacker, and then we're going to buy just the combi. So say the Kuhn, or not the Kuhn, the, what's that called? Well, I guess we could do the Kuhn, but I was thinking of the... Oh my goodness, the Krone. That's it. The Krone, the big combi one that allows you to do it all on the fly. And that one would be great efficiency of grass bales. Well, did I do a clutch? I think I did manual clutch accidentally. There we go. We got to keep this in medium. Otherwise, little Heidi does not have the power. Okay. There we go. So, come on, Heidi. You got it. Option number 2 is selling our baler and forstacker, and then we're going to buy, we'll just call it the Krone combi one, right? And that one's going to be pretty expensive right now because that thing is a pretty penny, but it probably costs similar to the baler that we're selling. It's really faster. It's a lot faster for the wrapped bales, but it is a lot slower because when we go to clear the fields of hay or especially straw, you know, that's a lot of clear time. And as I experienced without the forstacker, it took forever to individually go around that field and grab every single one of those bales and stack them on the trailer. So I don't necessarily like that option, but it is one of the simpler options. The more expensive and the fastest option, most expensive, but also the fastest, most efficient option will be, it's similar to option 2. It's selling our current baler, and we're going to buy the Krone combi stacker. Whoops, did we? Oh, we're already there. I thought they were further back. Okay. And I keep interrupting my thought. So it's same as option 2. We sell our current equipment. We buy the Krone. But then we also buy something like the Black Sheep Modding Square Baler with the Quad Packer Pro. It's going to be the most expensive option out of the 3, but it's also going to be the fastest for efficiency-wise. And, you know, I'm kind of already feeling pressured for time. Granted, we moved to the map in the middle of the fall, So there is that to consider. We may, that might be part of the reason. You know what? I don't need the rear lights on. Let's just turn on the front ones. There we go. Is that one or that one? Nope, that one. Yeah, we don't need the road lights with the indicators. We just need the headlights on. Field lights, as I call them. So those are the three options. Those are kind of the merits of each of them. Of course, the biggest problem with any time you do the round bales, I was talking to the guys on the forums, and I do want to play realist. Oh, right as I say, I want to play realistic. Oh man, that's perfect timing. No. Okay, we're gonna drive very slowly down, and we're gonna put these on the ground and try to have not destroyed the stack. All right. And I keep interrupting my train of thought. So, something to consider is we do save time because there is no forage wagon. So we sell that, we save money on upkeep on that. So it's not like a total loss. And we, the round bales are a little bit harder, but then we save time because we don't have to run the forage wagon all the way back to the farm and dump it. We don't have to spend time compacting the silo pit. We just wrap them up into a bale and go. And I think it's a lot easier. I think it's quicker initially, actually, if you consider all the time spent compacting and running the forage wagon back here to the farm, as opposed to, I was talking with a lot of guys, like, what do you do with the wrapped bales? And a lot of them said, like, well, we just basically leave them in the field, especially if they're close. Just leave them out there in the field until you need them, and then go get them. And I think, oh, come on, save, no! Oh, you just couldn't. I just am not good at this. Okay, well, what we're going to do, I think, is go over here and we'll get this third one. Eventually, I think we'll turn this into a cinematic, but I don't know. Maybe if I keep talking the whole episode because I interrupt myself and I can't do two things at once, then that'll be the episode. Which, actually, that is a whole nother conversation. I could talk about multitasking. And, oh my goodness. You know what? Maybe we'll talk about that later. There's a lot of fascinating information about multitasking. It's not actually called multitasking scientifically. It's called task switching. Anyway. Okay. We just keep going off on tangents. And that tangent made me think of calculus and how much I miss doing complex math. And ready to go off on another tangent. But we are done on tangents for now. Okay, so those are the three options. We were still discussing them. I was talking about the merits of it. That's right. So guys were saying, because I think I was looking at the problem all wrong. Like, I was imagining a field full of round bales and just, oh my goodness, that's so many round bales out there that I have to gather and get under cover and stack into the farm. Underneath cover like I'm doing now before the elements occur. And, well, one, I was talking to the guys, and so if it's a wrap bale, you don't have to get it right away, especially if it's close to the farm. Just run out to the field and get it whenever you need it, And I can't even back up. Come on, Heidi. There we go. Maybe. Yeah, so, and then I was also talking to Baron of the Seasons mod, Baron, and he made the point that, you know what, you don't need to feel panicked if the bales are uncovered and they are exposed to the elements. I think he said that he even left them exposed to elements for an entire year, and they only lost something like 25% of their matter. So that is something to also consider where, you know what, I think I'll just do a couple on top now at this point. If I can go. There we go. Clutch was just overheating a little bit. I probably was in a bit too high of a gear. Let's shift down. There we go. That'll give us a little bit more power. Oops. I am the worst farmer ever. Okay. Oh, no. I forgot. This is why I didn't do 4 high. Because when you're trying to get the top baler, you hit the roof up there. Okay. We're not doing them 4 high. Yep, and there you hit the roof again. Okay. Not doing them 4 high. No, sir. Okay, let's just put this bale Oh my goodness. We are creating a mess for ourselves. Let's just put it right there. And now we're going to back up. Now we're going to grab this bale. And there we go. Okay, we're going to finish talking about the balers, but I just remembered something. For any of you guys who play more realistic mod with drive control, I seem to have solved a problem. Well, actually, someone else on the MR thread solved the problem for me. And it is, sometimes you may have seen where it felt like my brakes didn't work, or I couldn't stop in time, and it's like I didn't have any braking power, and I never understood why that was. Well, someone commented that if you're going backwards and you shift into forward and still hit the brake button, it does not work. And the same thing is going forwards. If you hit the spacebar to toggle into backwards and then hit the brake, what is it? I think I had that right. You just don't brake as well. So basically, if you're going the wrong direction and you try to brake, for some reason it doesn't apply the correct amount of braking power. And I had that happen a lot. And you know what? It can actually be avoided if you just play the right way, come to a full stop, then switch direction, and then the brake will work just fine. So if you ever experience that similar problem, I actually couldn't replicate it right there, but I also didn't have very much weight on me and I wasn't going very fast. So I have had that problem many of times when I felt like I should be stopping and then I hit a wall or something. So it's good to know that some of those accidents were not actually my fault, but in case you have a similar problem, that is likely the issue there. Anyway, let's continue stacking these bales here. And yeah, the baler, I think we've covered the merits of each plan. I'll put the poll up there. Just in case you forget, because, well, maybe not even forget, but in case you're confused, because I explained them, we're going to shift real quick, because I explained them probably really poorly. I will post the description in the description box, and I will refer to them as option 1, 2, and 3. So just use those when you go to vote in the poll. But yeah, so just to recap, option 1, keep what we have now, buy the square baler wrapper, which, you know, then obviously that would, it's an extra step wrapping, but then we keep the forstacker so that we can actually stack up the wrapped bales kind of all together in a stack, and it'll make it easier for stacking them. However, okay, so actually I don't like that option now, because I was talking with a couple guys, and here's the problem. When you have a wrapped bale, oh, we got a downshift. When you have a wrapped bale, you have to be really careful so that you don't poke a hole in it. Otherwise, it will basically not do the silage effect that you want, right? And you don't want to get extra, what is it? You don't want to get moisture in. The bale's already moist. I don't know. Maybe you don't want to let the bacteria or organic matter out. I don't know. Anyway, I know you don't want to poke a hole in the wrapped bale. And so he actually discussed how using machinery like an auto stacker or the forstacker after you have the bale wrapped might not be a good idea, because it just makes it easier to poke a hole in that wrap bale. I actually saw YouTube videos of farmers. I went and looked on YouTube. I saw YouTube videos of farmers using auto stackers with wrapped bales, so maybe some of them work better than others. I know something, for example, like I was thinking about the Baling boy, where, you know, it's that tube and basically just goes in and picks up the bale nice and loose. You know, it's not like it has moving parts or parts that could rub or tear, or, you know, pinch some of the plastic there. So I think something like that would be easy. That would be easier for gathering up the wrapped bales together. But oh no, oh, we almost killed it. Okay, are we? I know if we get too far forward, we're gonna have problems with that pole there on the left. So I think this is actually probably the last stack, and it good thing too, because it is kind of an ugly stack. That's probably the last stack right next to the pole, but I think we can go over on the other side and fix that real quick. Anyway, so yeah, it's a concern using machinery when you have the wrapped bales, and also if you think about using the forstacker with wrapped bales in real life, even even if it doesn't poke a hole in the bales, how do you expect to be able to... Come on. I don't know if Heidi has the power for that one. How do you expect to be able to pick up that stack of bales, right? It is... You know, this is part of the problem with talking and... Okay, we're going to have to do a 20-point turn here. It's part of the problem. I'm just not good at talking and doing things. Okay. We're a little bit... Oh my goodness. I went the wrong way. Oh my goodness, I should cut some of this footage out. This is like one of my... I feel like this is one of my worst episodes ever, and I am sorry, guys. Okay. You know what? I wonder if... Can we cheat a little bit and do it this way? Let's do it this way. I don't know, maybe that's not cheating. Does anybody ever move bales around like that in real life with, you know, pushing it with the edge of the tractor or something flat? Actually, maybe it's not too unrealistic, because I know I've seen like a bale pusher for the front of a tractor where it'll basically push the bale and straighten it out so it'll line it up with something like an auto stacker. I have seen that, so maybe moving a bale around like that with the edge of a weight or a tractor, something solid like that. I'd imagine you wouldn't want to do it with a wheel, because it could maybe pinch and jump over the wheel. I don't know. Anyway, we discussed those options. And I think originally option 2 I hated the idea of, because I was dreading, you know, spending hours of my time stacking up fields full of straw bales. But like Baron said, you don't necessarily have to gather them instantly. If they are exposed to just a few elements, it's really not the end of the world. But, oh boy, I forget the number. I think he said they lose 5% of the moisture for every hour of rain they are exposed to. Don't quote me on that. That could be wrong. I don't remember. I don't have the page open, but it's not like it's a huge amount. And... you know, you can go gather them in the winter or whenever you have time. So that is an option. Originally, I hated option 2, but it is viable and it is cheaper. So that's a good option. I think I like option 3 because we are becoming a huge... Our goal is to become a huge dairy operation. So I think that, you know, having something the most efficient, even if it has a little bit more upfront cost, it's not going to be... Okay, so these I think we'll just put in the middle, because I don't know how much deeper we want to go here. Yeah, we'll just do that. Anyway, I was also talking to Baron, and the scale of this game is just really out of proportion, because he was saying that, you know, making 1,000 bales in a season is nothing, or 1,500. That's a small amount. And I think he made comment where the guys that have a combi baler, like the Kuhn, the thing that costs $250,000, they try to make, I mean, what did he say, like 10 or 15,000 bales annually to, you know, help offset the cost. And I guess that makes sense. If you buy a big expensive combine, you're not going to use it for just a few acres annually. You're going to want to use it for as much as possible. So that makes a lot of sense. But I think for us, you know, it'd be a lot more upfront costs, but maybe something like that would be good. Having the so I think I'm leaning towards option 3, which is more expensive upfront, but it increases our efficiency the most. And you know what? Time is also money. And for example, we might lose out on, you know, the 10%. We might not have time to plow before spring, and that means we lose out on 10% yield. So I don't know how we have a lot of fields. How much money is that worth? And if we were able to be a little bit more efficient with our baling and stacking and stuff like that, maybe we could have made it up in the field. And then as you grow, the bigger equipment only becomes even more efficient. But We haven't taken out a loan yet, and that is helping keep our costs down. But that's going to change because we're going to probably max out the loan and buy as many cows as possible. Max it out with the exception of maybe, I don't know, 50,000. We don't want to get ourselves in a bind where we're forced to sell off equipment if we have to buy something we need. But I am leaning towards basically maxing out the loan and buying cows. I think that, you know, that's the goal. We got to become a big dairy operation. We certainly have the hay to help start out. I did want to, oh my goodness, and I feel bad now because he pointed out how to pronounce his name, but Ionri MTX125 recommended getting, oh my goodness, the talking and driving thing. He recommended getting the hay to grass mod, and I have downloaded and installed that. As I said, Louis Parton, if I'm pronouncing his Parton or Parton, he told me how to pronounce his first name and not his last name. He's the one that recommended making the poll, and I'm trying to keep it tightly controlled because I don't want, you know, to make an open-ended poll or something that has a bunch of crazy, unrealistic suggestions. So that is the deal there. I should also mention Platinum Turbo, who recommended the viable silage the viable manure and slurry pits, which actually, if we have time, we should take a drive down to Little Woolhope Farm because I have bought them and placed them down at the Little Woolhope Farm because we're an organic farm, and to get 3 fertilizer layers, we're not going to have the manure / slurry to do it ourselves, and we can't use any of the synthetic fertilizer, the liquid and or the pellets. We'll just say that that's all non-organic, even though I'm sure some of those sprayers might have some types of application for organic farms. I know some organic farms, I think they can spray things like copper or, well, I mean, it's anything naturally occurring, right? So I think they use some kinds of heavy metals for certain herbicides or maybe a pesticide. I'm not sure on that, though. I just remember reading that. I'm not sure if that's all crop types or if that's coffee and it wouldn't be for cereal crops, for example. I'm not sure on that, but I do know that my cousin, you know, he doesn't have livestock. He just runs an arable organic farm here in Illinois. Well, not here. I'm in Texas. You know, it's about an hour away from where I grew up. He runs an arable organic farm, and he actually has one of the neighboring farms that has a bunch of slurry. He contracts them to spray. Oh, what am I caught on? I think I'm caught on the other bale stack there. Anyway, he contracts. Oh, goodness. Yeah. I'm stuck on the other bale. Okay. I guess we were just a little bit too close. We'll get a little bit more separation. If I can. There we go. Okay, let's just downshift all the way. And I caught the other bale again. Okay, so, cousin, he operates an organic farm. I did it again. My goodness. He operates an organic farm, Illinois, and that's what he does. So, as Platinum Turbo suggested, it is a very realistic suggestion, and it allows us to be an organic farm by spraying manure and slurry in the fields in the spring, someone else's manure and slurry. And like I said, it is a realistic suggestion. So we are all about realism here when it is feasible, and I'm just trying to straighten those out somewhat. That should be good enough. So I'm not sure if we'll have time to drive down there tonight, but I just wanted to suggest that. And then this name I'm really gonna butcher. It sounds Greek, but I could be wrong on that. It's Konstantinos Papas. Come on, tell me that doesn't sound like a Greek name. Anyway, hooray for stereotypes or assumptions. Anyway, he mentioned a cool little pack of buildings that I think I will eventually buy over there where we have the steel bend, the little circle laid out over there. Eventually, on the other side of that, we're going to put some sheds. It might be some more bale storage. It's probably going to start out as vehicle storage, but it might be easier to store bales in. Faster, more efficient. We don't have to worry about those stupid pillars that I keep running into, you know. That would certainly make bale stacking a lot easier. But it is a longer way away from the actual cows, and you know, if you do that 50 times a year, that all those little trips add up. So I'm not sure if we will put bales over there. Probably just equipment for now. All right. Let's get this done. I think that oh my goodness. Why do I... Does anybody else mess up this much in their game? I was talking with Doc, and he at least made me feel better. He's like, yeah, you mess up a lot, but at least it's entertaining when you mess up. So, you know, at least there's that. I try to play as realistic as possible, but you know, I mess up. So at least it's entertaining. And I was about ready to say that I think I've exhausted talking about just about everything, and I want to listen to the Cubs game. I know it is opening night of football, and more people statistically care about football, but baseball season is coming to a close, and I typically don't care about football, and even though I'm a huge Bears fan. I shouldn't have tried to rush it. That's what I get. Even though I'm a huge Bears fan, I don't generally care about football until baseball season is over, which typically for the Cubs, it's over by now, but they are still in it, even though the Cardinals are closing the gap. The Cardinals always seem to be there at the end of the year. Oh my goodness. For those of you who don't like baseball, I would encourage you to listen to it on the radio. It's just I don't know, I want to sound cheesy, but it's a magical experience. I love listening to baseball games on the radio, and that's kind of what I want to do, stacking hay while I do a cinematic. I don't really know what else to talk about anyway, but it looks like the Cubs are leading 6-1 right now, so Ian Happ's had a pretty good game. I'm excited about that. A good young player for him. But should I try to do it right there on uneven ground? Let's try to do it right there. But anyway, if I had more to talk about, I would probably keep this as a whatchamacallit, but I think we will just cut to some kind of a cinematic. That is an ugly stack. Some kind of a cinematic. I don't know how pretty it'll be because it's at night, but at least you don't have to watch me. Oh my goodness, I should do a cinematic whenever I stack bales from now on, because this is ugly. I'm not using my steering wheel. Everything gets knocked over. I crash into everything. What else has happened? I somehow accidentally extended the stupid ramp on the trailer. I lost a bunch of straw. This thing is just turning into a huge fiasco. So yeah, we'll jump to a cinematic right now. See you guys on the other side. Worst episode ever. Well, that actually wasn't too bad after I stopped talking and was able to concentrate on, oh yeah, see, and there I start talking, I hit something again. Anyway, it wasn't too bad once I actually started concentrating on what I was doing. So that concludes stacking of all the hay bales. All right, now the only thing left to do is I'm going to try to salvage this load just a little bit. I don't want to lose it all. I also don't want to stack it all right now. So let's try, let's see, where are we going to do this at? Let's, okay, I got what we're going to do. We're going to, nope, yep, okay. So we're going to go over to the other side with this tractor. And, yeah, I know, I was just over to this side. I didn't think it through. Okay, here we go. So let's do a, nope, can't make that turn. You know, for such a small tractor, it seems to not have the greatest turning radius. I'd like to compare, actually, the turning radius to Fritz, because it seems like Fritz actually has a better turning radius. Anyway, let's hop into Fritz here. We're going to back him up, and we're going to try to fix that ugliness. So let's get this. Whoops, wrong button. Okay, so if we go, well, you know what? Having some lights on would help. And we're going to attempt to back this in over there. It is very unbalanced. I'm pretty sure, I would imagine those straps would, I don't know. That's a lot of tension. I don't know if those straps would hold or if they'd be already snapped by now. But we are going to just back this in for the night. But before we back it in, we're going to leave it right about there. And then run over back to Heidi and try to fix what we have broken. Well, I didn't break it. I guess you could say that I did break it, but there's no way, because those ramps weren't down when I pressed the, you know, when I unhooked. It's like, I don't know how that happened. Anyway, hopefully this isn't too much weight on little Heidi. Oh yeah, Heidi's got it. All right, should I leave well enough alone? Let's make sure that we are all the way in the lowest gear. Let's try to push all those back on. There we go. Don't want to push too far. I think we should just leave well enough alone. Back on out of there. We have corrected the problem. At the very least, I don't think that they'll fall off. I think the reason those other balers fell off is they must have been too far, like, outside the trailer's zone or something, and in the process of reloading the map, they just slowly fell off the trailer. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, we're just gonna back this in here. For those of you curious, in case I didn't already say it, I can't remember, I did actually go in and add a snow mask underneath this opening, this coverage, so you don't have to worry. These bales are protected. But actually, you know what? Let's pull over to the side a little bit more, because I think I want to stack the rest of the straw in the side right next to... Oh, you know what? Early in the episode, I talked about that very problem, and I just did it again. I was going forward, I hit spacebar prematurely to shift it in reverse, and then I still tried hitting the brake button, and the brakes did not work. They worked at, you know, a small percentage of the power, and that's why we didn't see it when we were testing it out on Heidi. I was trying to show you what the problem was, but obviously with all the weight behind Fritz here, the problem was very noticeable. So if you ever, oh, I think I hit a pillar there. If you ever see that happen to you and you're using more realistic mod and drive control, that is the problem. Stop all the way first and then shift direction, and you won't run into any problems. That's the way you should be playing anyway, because that's the realistic way. And if you're using the more realistic mod, well, then there you go. Why are you getting out in the middle of a wall? You know, whoops, wrong way. Okay, let's just leave it there. I think that is pretty straight, parallel to the wall there. Of course, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I kind of like it that way. All right, we can put Fritzy away now, I believe, in the... Let's see. You may have seen the brief cutscene where my brother was driving home to the farm. He didn't put his tractor away. He just hopped off it and went into bed early. That's fine. He's had a long day. We'll clean up the yard in the morning. I think I'll just park Fritzy in here for the night. And then it's a pretty late night, so I think I'll go to bed. We'll clean up those straw bales in the morning before the rain comes. But that's pretty much it. If you notice that, I turned on the lights there, so it gave us quite a bit extra light here in the barnyard going through. Tomorrow, it is going to be a busy day. Let's get rid of that. Let's bring back up the HUD. And we have, snow. It doesn't look like the snow will stick because of the temperatures there, but the snow is coming, and in just a few more days, the snow is going to be cold enough to stick. So we're going to have a few more days of the elements. I'm not sure. I think that's probably the last day of field work was today. So tomorrow is basically going to be getting ready for winter the rest of the way and preparing for spring, buying cows, and maybe we'll get some slurry loaded up and some manure loaded up ahead of time. So that way we'll be ready to go in the spring. But I don't know if we want to let those sit in the equipment all winter and get frozen. Anyway, that's another discussion for later, maybe when we have time. Right now, it's getting up there pretty late, and we are all tired from a hard day's work. So we're going to go to bed here. And I guess we might as well turn off the lights. Object too heavy. Oh, that's right. So if those of you are new to this farm, if you're not familiar with Mountain View, this light switch turns off. I believe these are always on, those lights up there. Let me just turn off Fritzy's lights. These lights up above us are always on, but the light switch turns on and off that little floodlight over there, and then the lighting in this shed. And if you look behind us in the cow shed, that is the one that controls the cow shed lights and this floodlight here. So let's hop the gate, and we will turn that one off. So that controls those doors. Let's just open that door up real quick. And get ready to load in some pigs. I guess we can close those or open those up because that's the dumping spot for cows. Anyway, I think that just about concludes this episode. Please don't forget to vote. If you think that your vote doesn't matter, if you think that other people are going to vote and heed my message, so you don't need to vote because others are going to do it, well, if everybody thought that way, then Bullet Bill wouldn't get any good ratings. So please get out there and vote. Give this map the 5 that it deserves. And as I was talking about, this is the area that we will probably use for some sheds. It seems flat enough. If not, we'll have to pay to level it out a little bit, i.e. me going into Giants Editor and leveling it out. That's what I had to do up here. Just a little bit. I actually barely leveled this. I had to raise this a little bit, add a little bit of extra dirt, but mainly I didn't level this at all. This is all just the level of the ground. I had to level this side just slightly. You can see that hill is a little bit unnatural there, but the rest of the area is just the natural map. So we're gonna have a lot of bends there. Oh yeah, I said I was gonna talk about this real quick before we go. So I have created this asset page. All we have to do is enter true, false, and it automatically calculates the price in the game right there. And then every year we can add that value there. We're going to have to calculate our equipment from in-game annually. The livestock we will pull from the value here. This is the median value. Of course, with seasons, this will change, but for our asset purposes, calculation, our assets and debt-to-equity ratios, we're just going to use that value. The cash, well, that's going to come from, obviously, cash in the game, and then income and expenses are going to come from this spreadsheet. We have not entered anything in here because basically this season and most of this season came from Lebat du Monde, and we would only have the winter expenses and income here. I guess I could have done it for what I'm calling year 0, but we're not going to track that for now. But over here, I wanted to point out, these are my calculations for the steel bin. I went in Giants Editor and measured each steel bin will be 10 meters high, 6 meter radius. The calculation comes to about 32,000 bushels per steel bin. I've been doing some research on steel bins herself because we actually looked at putting one up on our farm a couple years back, and the cost per bushel can vary based on the type of bin, the drying system, stir raters, etc., loading system, grain pit. There's a lot of different options you can have, but basically, I was an electrician in the Navy. I still understand electrical work and power, and at least in the U.S., if you're doing work yourself, if it's for yourself, you do not have to be a fully licensed professional, so I am allowed to do all this on my own property. I assume the same thing is in the UK. I know what I'm doing. I'm just not licensed. So I'm going to do a lot of the electrical and some of the construction myself, but, my brother and I, but most of it is going to be done by a contractor. We actually just paid anyway. So I'm estimating $2 per bushel. And with 3 bins, that comes to 192,000 at 32,000 bushel. And that includes the tower dryer that I'm going to have and the grain legs and the pit. So I am going to simulate, obviously in the real game it does not do this, but I'm going to simulate with 3 bins. I can only store 3 different crop types at a time. So, the placeable was $50,000. I am actually using, in case you wanted to know, I am using this. It's kind of a combination of a placeable and I'm building it myself. I really just didn't want to have to mess with adding this script to the map. So I just placed the placeable. I adjusted the position coordinates in the save game file to exactly where I wanted it. And then I placed those concrete foundations manually in Giants Editor, and we will see them build up as time progresses throughout the winter. But that is the price that it cost, and so I subtracted another $142,000. So that's why my price up there, the money, I used to have substantially more money up there. Also, you may have noticed, if you're paying close attention, the math is not perfectly right because I sold our Limkin corn planter. I did really enjoy using this Limkin mod. I converted it myself for the more realistic mod, but I couldn't justify keeping it. We don't plant corn. You can plant all the other crops with our other seeder. In hindsight, I probably should have bought this seeder for $40,000. It's a little bit shorter. But, if you look at the upkeep cost, it should be considerably less than this seeder that we do have. Basically, I guess basically everything's half. It's a little bit, the upfront cost isn't half, but for how much crop we have, I think a 3-meter seeder would have been fine, but I don't know. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, I do think that it's important you guys get the results of the poll, and I will again put them in the description. Listen to the episode if you are confused about what the options are. I explain it even though it's confusing, so actually don't listen to what I say. Just read the description and vote on the poll. You'll see it in the upper right hand corner on the little card. It should show up at some point around now. And yeah, be sure to vote because we're gonna have to, if it involves selling a baler, we might as well sell it over the winter so we're not accruing upkeep costs on the baler and the forstacker, wherever I put the forstacker. Yeah, so I guess we could actually sell that now because no matter what we do, I think the plan does not involve us having a loading wagon. But I think that should just about do it. Be sure to give a thumb and subscribe if you enjoyed. And until next time, thank you from the West Coast. Don't forget to vote. 5.0 stars. Well, of course you can't. You can only vote in whole numbers. I'm thinking of the rating system where it breaks it down into decimal points. Anyway, vote 5 stars for Bullet Bills, the West Coast. See you guys later, and thank you. Have a good night.